potential with generative AI.
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at the AIBC, and I'm excited to kind of talk about generative AI with all of you. It's those days again. We feel excited with a new technology. It reimagines what we are used to seeing around the tech and the business world, and everybody's excited. It acquires a critical mass of users very, very soon. And the questions that we get are, is it hype? Is it real? Is it that emerging tech trend that will die down? Should I ride this wave and understand what this technology could do for my business, for my life? And here I am. I'm going to talk about this topic particularly. Hopefully, it will be of interest to you. Before I get started, I'll touch a quick thing on what is generative AI and why should you care. I'll not go into a lot of technical details in this presentation, but I would want to tell you that generative AI is a technology which is multimodal. In the technology world, covers every modality of what we are used to seeing: text, video, image, music, even videos, etc. For everybody, it's like a magical machine that can create new things you've never seen before. And we've been used to seeing artificial intelligence, since old days. But what's different now? Today, the thing that every discussion around artificial intelligence that we had 3 years back was around, yeah, artificial intelligence is good, but it cannot replace humans. But there's a plot twist. We considered there are some complex problems that only humans could solve. Generative AI could solve those problems as well. So let's dive deeper and understand why are we talking about artificial intelligence now, and what's changed today. That's making life easier for everybody around. It's definitely scale, with large language models coming into the picture and new architecture of GPT getting defined. It changes the fundamental benchmarks that were getting defined around AI. And if you see on the graph on the right hand side, the baseline of human performance on some of the tasks like language understanding, just from a very bare minimum in 2017, 2018, skyrocketed to surpass the human performance benchmarks today. So that's very, very interesting, and it unlocks a lot of potential and possibilities for the world. These are some of the questions that I am getting in corporate boardrooms, and everybody is kind of figuring these jigsaw puzzles around. What would happen to my business? How would my customer expectations change? Will there be AI-powered competitors who will be there in the market? And these are, again, across industries. I'm getting these questions that people are trying to figure answers to these questions to understand the hype or the real variant of this technology. This is a quick glimpse of the big technology landscape around generative AI. There are fundamental generative AI cloud platform providers like Google, Microsoft, which is tied up with OpenAI. Amazon joined the race, and recently, Meta has also joined this with their own open source variant called Llama. We've seen early adoption of this technology being tested out by large tech and being implemented at scale as well. And there is a huge startup ecosystem that's been propping up for each of these modalities. For text, for video, for speech, every company is trying to identify and unlock possibilities around these areas, leveraging generative AI. Now, what is the opportunity that generative AI brings to the table? And again, just to expand on the technology architecture and the data architecture of companies today, there's a technology maturity and data maturity curve that every organization goes through. And even before they can start realizing value, they first make sure that they are there in the tech maturity or the data maturity curve before they start unlocking value. But generative AI has been a democratizing artificial intelligence force that's leveled the playing field. And irrespective of the data maturity, irrespective of the technology maturity of your company, you can achieve magic and extract value from areas where it did not seem possible before. So I would want to touch on where is the generative AI opportunity. And with every emerging technology trend, with blockchain, with metaverse, every time we start coming up with use cases. But I fundamentally feel it's different this time. It's not about the use cases, because it is going to change the way systems interact with each other and fundamentally redefine the technology architecture moving forward. So I've tried to kind of touch upon three horizons in this slide, which generative AI could unlock. The first one is a productivity boost. So whatever you were used to seeing, generative AI could help you get that 10x productivity boost or even more in today's world. Next is augmentation. Augmentation is we create new value from existing processes, existing systems, existing value chains, leveraging generative AI, which we did not feel possible before. And the few more futuristic is it's more exploratory. Horizon 3 is the transformation piece which generative AI will unlock. Moving forward, there would be new definitions of business models, new definitions of how companies operate, new definitions of a particular sector, all being led or started by this movement that is generative AI. I've taken a sample of the banking industry, and we have a lot of folks from the banking industry here who are, payment partners, financial providers, and just to showcase a quick glimpse on how this industry could transform, I've tried to reimagine the future of banking. In a traditional bank or financial services, I think crypto Megan mentioned about the accounting world leveraging generative AI. The future of banking, I believe, would transform tremendously, and there is huge scope in that area as well. Today, we spend about 70 to 80% of our time or resources around the compliances piece in banking and financial services today. Moving forward, I see this compliances kind of pyramid uh, traversing to the next stage where we start spending less time in compliances and trying to figure out augmentation in the banking world. The last one is the most interesting, which is the most futuristic state of banking that generative AI, whatever I could see, is when we spend most of our time in business partnering rather than compliance, and compliance becomes automated, executed, baked into whatever we do fundamentally, and we don't need to think about compliance in a way that we think today. Moving on, I know it's an exciting proposition, generative AI. Why should we not go ahead and plug everything with generative AI? It poses some risks and security threats as we see today. There's data privacy risks. There are hallucinations that generative AI technology goes through. And it's hard for us to identify what's the authenticity of the data, what's the source of the data, and where are the biases in the data that is used to train the model baked in. And there are again a plethora of new cybersecurity threats that are opening up, just like any other technology. Could it get hacked? Could it have a compute attack? Very similar to the other emerging technologies that we've seen in the past. But since this is acquiring critical mass very, very soon, there are 100 million users. ChatGPT acquired very soon. We are seeing a wide-scale adoption of this technology. So these risks are even more exponential, and we need to figure them out very soon. We need to consider the responsible AI and implement guardrails around using this technology before getting it live in the hands of our audience. And there's a beautiful term around duty of care, depending on the complexity of the problem, depending on if you are using public data, private data, how important the end output is. Is it a direct output which could influence major decisions? We need to define a new parameter when we are defining technology architectures, which is the duty of care. And these are some responsible AI practices that we need to kind of follow. And just a quick introduction, I am Puneet. I lead the Innovation Hub in PwC India, and we churn out, we are working on generative AI very extensively. We are seeing a lot of client interest in the market, and I'm around, I'm excited. But before I go, I would want to make three bold predictions for the next horizon one, as I would like to call it, 1 to 3 years. So prediction number one, it's around the technology area. The technology stacks that we are used to seeing would get redefined fundamentally, and I believe that 90% of the tech stack that we see today is going to get transformed and changed to a more generative AI based stack. I'm not saying generative AI as a layer. I'm saying generative AI as a backbone structure of technology implementations. Next, I would want to make prediction number 2, which is around the business areas of impact. I could potentially see AI powered competitors coming into the picture. Traditional industries, we were already seeing in areas where there was no competition from any technology company. We are seeing completely AI powered competitors from scratch. So, this is my prediction number 2. And the third one is the most interesting one. All of the emerging technology trends, the metaverse, the blockchain, the Web3 ecosystem, would get even more power with generative AI, and the value that we are trying to prove for the other technologies would be able to be exploded in a meaningful way for all the consumers of the technology. So, thank you so much. It was great speaking here, and I'm so excited to meet all of you. Thank you.